Hello, BJ with Very Basic Bible. We are going to keep trucking in Ruth. This is the Ruth Bible study. You probably knew that because it said Ruth and you clicked on it. Probably says Ruth chapter 4, verses, I don't know, 10 through something or another. Here we go, guys. Share that screen. Ruthie Doothy. Here we go. Got all my Bible stuff opened up. Got my secondary Bible translations you see here. Yeah. Got all my primary ones there that I normally go through. Here we go. We are in the book of Genesis. That's right. Yeah. Let's head on over to Ruth. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Number, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth. First and Second Samuel, First and Second Kings, First and Second Chronicles. That's all the first and seconds. Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, and Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. I don't remember how the New Testament part goes. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Acts, Romans, First and Second Corinthians. Wait, that sounds like two. All right. Ruth. Some people just turn their off. They stop the video. They're not going to get a taste of this nice, rich Bible study. Here we go, guys. Oh my. There are people mowing outside. I'm going to go shut the balcony door. Let me pause this sucker for 1 second. And hey, what's up? There I am. I'm back. They are mowing the lawn outside, something fierce. If they were like ancient Israel, they wouldn't worry about mowing the lawn. You know, you walk around in the city and trample down all the dirt under the place where you stay. You know, they don't care about lawns. They didn't care about looking pretty. They were worried about making a living. They were working in the farm. They were worried about living, period. They were out working in the fields all day, working with their cattle and livestock and their sheep and goats and all that, out hunting, farming. They were like, they don't have time to be manicuring their lawns, trying to get, Hezekiah, lawn of the month of work. No, they important stuff, in other words. Like marrying a distant relative in order to pass on the family's line, to have babies with the woman so her husband has a name passed on. Yep. Here we go. Verse 12. We'll start verse 10. Furthermore, you know what? We'll start reading from verse 1. Yeah. Now Boaz went up to the gate and sat down there, and behold, the Redeemer of whom Boaz spoke was passing by. So he said, "Come over here, friend, sit down here." And he came over and sat down. So Boaz said, and the friend, the Redeemer, came over and sat down. Then Boaz took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, "Sit down here." So the elders sat down. And he said to the Redeemer, Boaz said to the Redeemer, "Naomi, who has returned from the land of Moab, has to sell the plot of land which belonged to our brother Elimelech. So I thought that I would inform you, Redeemer, saying, buy it before those who are sitting here and before the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, redeem it. But if not, tell me so that I may know. For there is no one except you to redeem it, and I am after you." And the Redeemer said, "I will redeem it." Then Boaz said, finally they say Boaz's name here. Then Boaz said, "On the day you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you must also acquire Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of the deceased, in order to raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance." Because you got a family line and you got land. You got land with no family to take care of it, then you got no land. If you got a family with no land to take care of, then you got no land. You can pass on your kids. But what if they end up getting like sold as servants or something. What if they end up going to work as an employee for somebody? They don't have land that is theirs connected to. They need not only people, but you need the name, and you need a name attached to something. Because if the name follows the person and the person goes to a foreign land, say Moab, when the person comes back from Moab, let's say Naomi, she goes to a foreign land. This lady Naomi, she comes back from Moab. Hey, there's a plot of land for me. Her name is not blotted out. If she came back, she had no land, they'd be like, who are you? Are you Naomi? What if you got defiled over there in Moab? We don't know who you are. I mean, could happen. You got the person, you got the land. The land is objective, doesn't go anywhere. Oh, God could destroy it, I guess. The person is subjective. They could die. What if they don't have babies to carry on their name? Then the land's just out there somewhere. Oh, that's so-and-so's land. Who said? I don't know. They're not here. They're not around. Okay. So you need the person and the land. Then the Redeemer said, I cannot redeem it for myself. Otherwise, I would jeopardize my own inheritance. Redeem it for yourself. You may have my right of redemption since I cannot redeem it. Now, this was the custom in former times in Israel concerning the redemption and the exchange of land to confirm any matter. A man removed his sandal and gave it to another. And this was the way of confirmation in Israel. Yeah, forget signing a contract, putting down collateral. Their collaterals are sandal, I guess. So the Redeemer said to Boaz, buy it for yourself. And he removed his sandal. I'm guessing the Redeemer removed his sandal. Let's so the other Redeemer, in saying to Boaz, acquire it for yourself, drew off his sandal. That's kind of different. So the guardian Redeemer said to Boaz, and he removed his sandal. So the Redeemer removed his sandal and said to Boaz, buy back the property yourself. And they're not really buying it. I'm not sure why they're using that language, but anyway. So the other family Redeemer dropped his sandal. Okay. And the other family Redeemer, because Boaz is a family Redeemer. So there's two of them here. Battle it out. Ancient Israel death match. Yeah, no, not really. Sandal match. Whichever one can get the sandal off the other first. We did this sock wrestling in college. I don't think I ever did it. Watched my friends do it. You each wear one sock. Ready, go. And then you wrestle around. You try to take off the other person's sock. And the first person who got the other person's sock wins. Yeah. I'd have went and found an old, a sock from my roommate who was going to wrestle or something. Smeared it, I don't know, some dog poop or something. Then, just the outside. Then to put it on, then ready to go. Well, then I might get dog poop everywhere. I'm sorry. We're getting a little off track here. Sandal. All right. Oh no. Let's go to Ruth. Yeah, I switched screens. Tricked you. Ruth, chapter 4. So look, there's a tab. I was over there. There's the NABRE, NIV, CSB, all the norm. I switched tabs. New King James, NIRV. In case you didn't notice, I did it kind of quick. What verse is that? Verse 8. Therefore, the close relative said to Boaz, buy it for yourself. So he took off his sandal. The kinsman redeemer removed his sandal. So it seems like so when the next of kin said to Boaz, acquire for yourself, he took off his sandal. It could still be Boaz. Released it from his. Oh wait, look at this. And so Boaz said to his kinsman, take off your shoe. And immediately he released it from his. That's a lot different. Man, that's them Catholics there, Catholic public domain version. I don't know. That's a lot different. Off his shoe. I'm looking really quick. Buy it yourself. He took off his sandal. So when the man said to Boaz, you buy the land, he took off his sandal and gave it to Boaz. Okay, pretty much everybody agrees that it's the kinsman who's not buying the land, but is letting Boaz buy it, is taking off his sandal. Let's see why we think that. NRSV, New Matthew, NI, we're looking for NA, New American Bible. Oh, the NABRE. That's one of those Catholic ones that we look at, NASB. Okay. Sandal. Get you off my mouse pad. There we go. My keyboard's all over my mouse pad. It was like clinkety clink. That I will not take a thread or a sandal strap. That's a little. We read a bunch of this before, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna look at it again. Do not come near here. Remove your sandals. Yeah. Take them off, Moses. That's Moses in the burning bush. Sandals on your feet, your staff in your hand. You eat it in a hurry, because when God passes over, the very next day, Pharaoh's gonna say, "Leave now." So you eat the Passover. How do you eat the Passover? With your garment belted around your waist, your sandals on your feet, your staff in your hand. Eat in a hurry. It's kind of funny because they ate it at twilight, but then I bet some of them actually went to sleep because, I mean, Pharaoh woke up in the morning sometime. Maybe he woke up an hour later. I don't know. Anyway, so in other words, be ready. Pharaoh's going to send you away. So God's trying to tell Moses, hey, 9 plagues now. Pharaoh was like, well, you can't leave. Or he said, well, you can leave, but then he didn't let him leave. He kind of changed his mind. God's going, don't worry. You're going to leave at this time. Okay, the brothers and the widow came and pull up this. Oh, hey. Here we go. Deuteronomy 25:9. 25:10. Okay, here we go. Full chapter. I'm going to get some water. One second here. Let's see. Yes. I was afraid this would be empty. Yeah, instead of the fishing mug today, we got the turquoise-ish, bluish, greenish. I think it's blue. Yeah. Here we go. Let's see. Where's the sand? Oh, this is what have we done. Okay. When brothers live together, like in the same house, I'm not sure. I do know that like more traditional families, they would build how they would live closer together, so and live near each other. I'm not sure. When brothers live together and one of them dies and has no son, the wife, so this is Deuteronomy chapter 25. Moses is repeating the law. Like duet. Deuter is like second. Onomy is law. How do I know that? Just random tidbits I picked up. Okay, Deuteronomy, if you read it, Moses is repeating a bunch of stuff he said in Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. And he repeats it all at once. Imagine sitting there. Probably take a few hours to read Deuteronomy. Imagine sitting there and listening. It's no fun. Anyway, so he's repeating the law. Okay, so here's a law that he probably gave earlier. Yeah. We might not have it recorded in Leviticus, Exodus, Leviticus, or Numbers, but he probably said it sometime while they were running around the desert. We have it preserved here in Deuteronomy. Various laws. If there's a dispute between people and they go to court, okay, here, don't muzzle an ox while it's threshing. Down here, verse 11, 2 men, a man of his country, have a fight with each other. So see, there's various laws. You shall not have in your bag differing weights. Remember what Amalek did to you. Okay, so they put him in nice big paragraphs for us, there. So various law. When brothers live together and one of them dies and has no son, so the brothers are the same family, got the same last name. They didn't have last names, of course, but they had family names. Okay. One brother dies, the other brother has babies with his wife, and he leaves his name. Now, the 2 brothers are related, but they got different names. They got the same family name, but they got different names too. Isn't that weird? That's why you want a brother to keep it in the family. So I know that's weird to us, but you want a brother to keep it in the family. You're not marrying a biological sister. You're not having babies with a biological sister. You're having babies with you got 2 brothers and you got 2 wives. They would be sister-in-laws. So it's not your biological sister. But you keep it in the family because the family is traced through the man. Okay, we've been over this so many times in this Ruth Bible study. We've said it over and over again. It's just the way it was back then. Okay. When brothers live together, one of the brothers dies and has no son. The wife of the deceased shall not be married outside the family to a strange man. That's what I just said. Like, we just keep reading. her husband's brother, so the wife of the deceased, one of them dies. The one whose husband dies, her husband's brother shall have relations with her. When brothers live together, one of them dies, the wife of the deceased, her husband's brother shall have relations with her and take her to himself as his wife. You need to care for her. You need to provide means for her. You're going to have sex with her to give her babies, and then you're going to give her food, clothing, shelter, stuff like that. Perform the duties of a husband's brother to her. A husband's brother. Yeah, what's the duties of a husband's brother? She's not your wife, but you're going to take her and care for her, love her, nurture her, give her food, clothing, a family, babies. That's the duty of the husband's brother. It shall be then that the firstborn to whom she gives birth shall assume the name of the father's deceased brother. The father is the living brother. Who is the father's deceased brother? The wife of the deceased. One of them dies. The father's deceased brother is the wife's original husband who has died. Okay. It shall be then that the firstborn to whom the wife gives birth shall assume not the name of the brother, but the name of the father's deceased brother. Okay. So that his name, the one who's died, so his name will not be wiped out from Israel. Now, what if the father already had a bunch of kids? I don't think you would need to do this, would you? Now, the lady needs to be taken care of, given food, clothing, stuff like that. Sure. But if the lady already has a baby, you wouldn't, then the family line is passed on. So this seems like it'd be the death of the death of the husband before they had kids. So I'm just gonna make up some modern day names. You got Ron and John. Ron and John both got wives. Okay. Ron and John. Okay. John dies. John's wife moves in with Ron, has a baby, at least one with Ron, and that baby carries on John's family name. What if John had a bunch of kids? John dies. The wife, she might move in with their brother. The brother might take care of her. Why not? The brother's family. The brother doesn't necessarily need to be her wife, because the wife would include food, clothing, shelter, and marital relations. I kind of want to look it up more, but there is a Bible verse that says, like, you shall make sure for your husband and wife, somewhere in Exodus, don't keep from your wife or your husband, I think, but I think it's talking about husband and wife. It's always husband and wife, because it's the husband. The husband is the important one. The man is the important one. We're all important in God's sight, but in that culture, they did stuff through the man. So, so the man shall not. Oh, I think it's if a man marries a second wife, this would happen. Like right now, this is happening, right? The man would have a second wife. So if the man gets a second wife, okay, you are not to lessen your duties for the first or the second wife, as far as, I think it says, like, clothing, food, shelter, and marital relations. So in other words, so it makes it almost sound like, hey, marital relations is a necessary thing for a wife. So let's say the brother dies, the brother's brother. Let's say the lady's husband dies, but she's already got babies to pass on the name. And she moves in with her brother's brother. She moves in with her brother-in-law. They don't necessarily need to have relations to have a baby. I mean, I guess, yeah, We've looked up that crazy story, which we're going to talk about more probably next time, because I'm taking so long on this one point. that we're gonna come with this crazy story where you had a lady who didn't have any kids, and a brother who didn't have no kids, then another brother who didn't have any, then another one didn't have it, over and over again. So, all right. It shall be then that the firstborn whom she gives birth shall assume the name of the father's deceased brother, so that the father's deceased brother will his name will not be wiped out from Israel. But dun, 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 if the father's brother, I'm sorry, not the father, if the deceased father's, the deceased brother, the deceased husband's brother, if the deceased husband's brother, okay, the deceased husband's brother does not desire to take his brother's widow, if the man does not desire to take his brother's widow, then his brother's widow. So what happened here? The deceased, the brother, let's read it again. But if the man does not take his brother's widow, the man doesn't take the widow of the brother. He says, I don't want to do it. Now let's say you're the uncle. So you're the next closest relative. So a lady's husband dies, she's got no kids. Her husband has no brothers. Who do I go to? Could go to the uncle. Now he's a little old, but he's the next nearest relative. So you go to him and have babies. Okay. What if there's a cousin somewhere that's closer relative? You go to that one and have babies. They just don't want. Look at that. Yeah. Rooster cockadoodle. They just don't want the name of the deceased brother to go away. Also, a lady with no babies, she hated it. It just bothered her. She wanted babies. Those ladies, they wanted babies bad. They wanted babies so bad, they would take their concubines or slaves and they'd be like, here, husband, have a baby with her. And then she would give birth. And then, I had a baby. No, you didn't. The concubine had a baby. Come on. But that's the way, hey, they were desperate. I don't know. It's a different mindset back then. Me and my wife, we can't have kids because I got some kind of medical problem. We're not like going to some sperm bank. No, we don't want babies that bad. That's weird. She's not going to my brother to have a baby. It doesn't matter. No, my brother would never do that. It's just not the way we do it nowadays. Back then, they would think we're nuts. They'd look at us and go, what are y'all doing? You have to give your wife a baby. They would freak out. But, it's not the way, okay? God's giving them laws and dealing with them in their time period, gives us laws and deals with us in our time period. Okay, people change. God doesn't. He loves us the whole time. Whew, thank goodness. Okay. So this man is a relative of Naomi and should take Ruth. On the day that you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you must also acquire Ruth the Moabitess. He should do that. The widow of the deceased, in order to raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance. The man should take Ruth. So we're told here, he's not necessarily Boaz's brother, but he is related to Elimelech. He's the next closest. Like I said, if your husband's got no brother, go find a cousin, go find an uncle, the closest person, have babies with them. Okay? The closest person over here. The Redeemer said, I cannot redeem it for myself. He's saying, hey, I know I'm the Redeemer, but I'm not going to do it for Ruth. I'm not going to redeem. Okay. Now we might, why? Otherwise I would jeopardize my own inheritance. Okay. He's afraid of jeopardizing his own inheritance. That's the reason he gives. He's afraid, what if I have a child and I don't know, the child takes takes both inheritances, takes my land and Malin. Let's go down here. Chilling and Malin for the widow of Malin. What if I would jeopardize? What if he takes Malin's land and name and inheritance and my name and inheritance? What if the baby did I give to Ruth? What if that's the one baby I have? I can't give any more. They had this weird mindset that if somebody had a lot, then everybody else had to have a little. If there's rain in one city, there's obviously not rain in another city. They had a weird thing like that, you know. If all these people have a lot of babies, well, then all these people aren't going to have a lot of babies. They would look at it and go, they would go, wait a minute, we're having so many kids, and then they would say, we went over this other town and we noticed they don't have many kids. Oh, that's why we're having kids. If everybody has kids all the time, everybody has rain all the time, it's called a miracle. God sent them to a land flowing with milk and honey, right? But that's the mindset they were in. You know, there's a balance. This dude's like, maybe this guy's thinking, if I have a baby with Ruth, then that baby should have gone to my wife and I would jeopardize my own inheritance. I wouldn't have a baby to give my, maybe he's thinking like that. Maybe, I don't know, you know. We don't know what he's thinking. That's what he's thinking. But let's give this man a benefit of the doubt. What if all, now, this is what the man self-reported. Let's just think about this though. Okay, up here. Come sit down here, friend. So he took 10 elders of the city, Boaz did. He said, Naomi has returned from the land of Moab. So I thought I would inform you, saying, buy it before those who are sitting here, before the elders of my people, buy the land. And you will require Ruth the Moabitess. If you will redeem it. But if not, tell me so I may know. For there is no one except you to redeem it, and I am after you. The man said, I will redeem it. So maybe the man said, wait a minute, I'm going to jeopardize my own inheritance. Well, hey, it's not like I'm just throwing Ruth out to the wind. There's a man here, Boaz, who's going to take care of her. Okay, I don't have to jeopardize my inheritance, and Ruth will be taken care of. If I don't redeem her, she'll get redeemed. So everything, but we're not told that about the man. In this story, Boaz has been particularly upright. In this story, they've talked about Boaz. Boaz is like an upright man, right? We don't meet him until chapter 2. Go. Nothing bad said about Boaz almost. A man of great wealth, the family of whose name was Boaz. You could see great wealth. He could be, I don't know, maybe the tricky. You know, please let me go, and when I find whose eyes I may find favor. So she's going to go to, after she happened to come to portion of field belonging to Boaz, who's a family. I'm like, you're like, hey, cool. He's a wealthy man and he's of the correct family. Okay, good. He's a wealthy man and he's of the correct family. Now, behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said to the reapers, get to work, you punks. No, may the Lord be with you. So he's a wealthy man. He's of the family, but he at least professes to know the Lord. And they said to him, may the Lord bless you. Hey, the men who work under him know the Lord. Maybe they're just pretending though. Maybe they're like Pharisees where they're just pretending, you know, they wear long tassels, and Pharisees they have these tassels they're supposed to remind them to pray, but they're making really long and ornate. And they wear their little scripture boxes they put on their wrists and their forehead. Yeah, little boxes with little pieces of scripture. Yes, they did that. They'd make them huge. Look at my scripture box. Pharisees would make long prayers for pretense so people would pay attention to them. Pharisees would show off. Maybe Boaz is doing that here. May the Lord be with you as men. May the Lord bless you. Then Boaz said to his servant, who's in charge, whose young woman is this? Oh, that's Ruth, right? Ruth said, let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain. Okay, so she's going to go to a field. So she left and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. Oh, that's right. We already read that. And she happened to come to the portion of the field belonging to Boaz. Okay. Boaz said to the servant, whose young woman is this? We're assuming he's talking about Ruth. She is a young Moabite woman who returned with Naomi from land of Moab. Okay, so that, yeah. All right. And she said, please let me gather and glean after the reapers and among the sheaves. And the servant said, no, too bad. The servant didn't do that. So she came and has returned from morning until now. She's been sitting in the house for a little while. Okay, so Boaz says, the Lord be with you. His servants are like, the Lord be with you. His servants are like, he let the lady glean. And they let the lady sit in the house all day. I mean, they seem like pretty good servants, in the little shelter thing, except for a short rest. Yeah, okay. Then Boaz said to Ruth, listen carefully, my daughter, do not go to glean in another field, because I need more workers. Furthermore, do not go from this one, but join my young woman here, because, hey, I could use a helping hand. Keep your eyes on the field which they reap, and go after them. Indeed, I have ordered the servants not to touch you. Because I need you to be in good working order. I need you to glean all. Is that what Boaz is saying? When you are thirsty, go to the water jars and drink from what the water, because you need to take care of it. Is that what he's saying? Is he treating her like a slave? Then she fell on her face, bowing to the ground, and said to him, why have I found favor in your sight? So she perceives it as favor. That you should take notice of me since I'm a foreigner. She perceives it as favor. So what all this stuff here that Boaz said, she's perceiving it as favor. So it must be good stuff. I'm assuming we're supposed to take it as Boaz being good to her. So see, we got this man Boaz. He's rich. He's of the same family, but he's also seems to be of good character. Pretty good character. Even his servants, the people under him, are good people. Boaz replied, all that you have done for your mother. Oh, Ruth said, why have I found favor in your sight? Boaz replied to her, all that you have done for your mother-in-law after the death of your husband, that's what we've been talking about, right? The death of her husband, has been fully reported to me. How you left your father and your mother in the land of your birth and came to a people that you did not previously know. Is that why he's giving her favor? Because he heard a good report about her, huh? Hopefully. No, he's nice to his servants. I mean, he lets other young women reap in his field. Well, he's generally nice to everybody, generally good to everybody. At least not just because, hey, you better do the right thing, but hey, he did hear exceptional things about her. May the Lord reward you for your work. Is that him again just being pompous? May the Lord reward you, and may your wages be full from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. He sounds like, I mean, he could just be speaking pious language, but he sounds like the real deal. I mean, I'm trying to build a case. We don't want to just assume that if somebody says good stuff and does good stuff, then they're a good person. Because there are people all over the Bible that seem to say and do good stuff. They're not good people. But also, you shall know them by their fruits. And the Bible will often tell stories of people who are pretending to be good, but it will give you very, very explicit tips that, no, this isn't a good person. If a person's pretending to be good, the Bible will also come right out and say, but really they're not good. They're just pretending. It does that. So, but the Bible here is painting, seems to be a good story of Boaz. Okay. It hasn't told us anything, but really Boaz is bad. May the Lord, okay. Then she said, if I have found favor in your sight, my Lord, for you have comforted me, and indeed have spoken. Oh, I have found favor in your sight, my Lord, for you have comforted me. So she's gotten comfort from him, and have indeed spoken kindly. She's been spoken kindly. At least that's what she's saying. This could be rhetoric. She could be like, I better say good things or else he's going to hurt me. It could be. I don't know. Though I am not one of your female servants. And at mealtime, Boaz said to her, come here that you may eat of the bread and dip your piece of bread in the vinegar. So she sat beside the reapers, and he served her roasted grain. Those who want to be leaders must be servants of all. God did not call Moses to be a leader, but to be a servant. God wants servants. Joshua was the servant of Moses, and then he was the servant of the Lord. Paul in the New Testament calls himself a bondservant. Okay, he's serving her. He's being a servant. I really think now Boaz didn't read Paul and go, "Oh, he's a servant of Jesus." No, but the teaching of Moses was a servant, and Joshua. Boaz is a servant. We'll read a little further on. Other people are servants. Paul and Jesus reading the Old Testament would go, we should be servants. think it's a theme. I think Boaz is a good, I think he's being a good person here. Of course, when she got up to glean, Boaz commanded his servants, let her glean among the sheaves. Do not insult her. Let her glean among the sheaves. Now, you're supposed to just walk behind the reapers and pick up what they happen to accidentally drop. And it tells the reapers, don't reap the very corners, leave some of it for the foreigners. So they're supposed to reap there. What are the sheaves? The sheaves are like, you got a storehouse. Okay, let's say you go to get a bunch of bananas. You chop down a bunch of bananas out of trees. You take them and you throw them in the barrels. Okay. Now, if I'm out in the field and I see a banana has fallen, hey, I grab one. But what if I went to the storehouse and I saw a banana had fallen off the banana bunch out of the barrel? And I grab, I'm getting a little too close for comfort. I'm going into their property. I'm no longer like, that's a little, but Boaz is saying, hey, even among the sheaves, not just the corners of the property, not just gleaning behind the reapers as they sow, but let her even come amongst what you've already fixed. I mean, Boaz is trying to be good to her, I think. I think we see upstanding character for Boaz. Also, you are to purposely slip out for her some grain from behind the bundle so she may glean, and do not rebuke her. That's hilarious. He's giving her favor. He's got to be. Maybe he doesn't even know. I don't think. No, he doesn't even know that she's a redeemer, that she's a redeemable, he does not. I don't think he knows he's her redeemer, because up here, Boaz replied, oh, who is this lady? Oh, that's Ruth. Oh, I've heard of her. That's right. All that you've done for your mother-in-law. I've heard of that. That's right. He doesn't seem to know, though, who she is. Maybe he does know she's Mahlon's husband, and then she's like, wait, a wife, widow, Mahlon's widow. And he's like, wait, Mahlon's my relative, huh? He doesn't seem to piece it together, because in chapter 3, maybe he has, but in chapter 3, she tells him, where is it at? Who are you? Boaz said, because it's late at night, and he wakes up startled. Who are you? What the heck? Wait, what's going on? I am Ruth, your slave. Now spread your garment over your servant, for you are a redeemer. Maybe Boaz knew that. Maybe not. Then he said, may you be blessed of the Lord. My daughters, like everything he says is about blessing and blessing the Lord. I think we're supposed to know that Boaz is a good person. So why do I say all that? Like I said, the Bible usually gives you hints, very explicit hints of this person's good, but actually they're really bad. They're just pretending to be good. Or this person's bad, but they're trying. It usually doesn't go that way so much. If they're bad, then they're bad. If they're good but really bad, then they're bad. If they're good, they're good. But there's never really if they're bad, they're really good. It doesn't. I mean, the Bible tells us like they change their ways, stuff like that. Okay, so it's trying to show us just how awesome Boaz is. He does everything perfect. He calls the Redeemer. He says, I just want to be honest. Now, Boaz compared to the Redeemer. You want to show how good Boaz is. So you put him next to Redeemer, who says, I would, but it might jeopardize my property. I can't do that. I can't jeopardize. You take her. I can't. Trying to make him sound selfish. Right? Look at my phone real quick. Oh, that's not it. Where's my other phone? I heard it buzz. There it is. 1 second, guys. So I really think they're trying to just put Boaz in a good light. They're trying to paint him in a good light, by putting him beside a person who's like, oh, I'll do it. Oh, wait, no, I can't jeopardize my property. He's only looking, the other man looking out for his own self-interest versus Boaz looking out for others. I think they're trying to write Ruth. The author of Ruth is trying to write it that way. I think so. We don't even get the man's name. We're not trying to besmirch this man and say, Nehemiah from the house of Elimelech was a horrible man because he did not take Ruth. No. He just says the man. The man's almost like a plot device. There really was a man, obviously, or else Boaz would have just been faking this. I mean, that really what, but author of Ruth is trying just to put Boaz in a good light. I think that's it. Like BJ, you're reading too much into it. Possibly. But I did give some, some Bible verses, Okay, so then Boaz said on the day, okay, I cannot redeem her. And this was a custom of others, right? The sandal. And he removed his sandal. So back to the sandal thing. When brothers live together, one of them dies and has no son, the wife of the deceased shall not be married outside the family to a strange man. Her husband's brother shall have relations with her and take her to himself as his wife and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. It shall then be that the firstborn to whom she gives birth shall assume the name of his father's deceased brother, so that his name, the deceased brother, will not be wiped out from Israel. But if the man does not desire to take his brother's widow, then his brother's widow shall, the brother's widow. So you can see if this is the same, if they got a custom that got lost over time, because things get lost over time. They stop reading the book of the law to each other. They get kind of lazy in how they understand it. One person says, well, here's what Moses says. Then they say to another person, well, here's what Moses says. By about the fourth or fifth person, things kind of change, So this little ritual here could be what Ruth is talking about when it says, no, this was a custom in former times. It was? Okay. It could be referring to this custom, but this custom is changed a little bit. Okay. But if the man does not desire to take his brother's widow, the man would take off his sandal and give it to the other man who will redeem his. Well, actually, that's not what happened, right? In this case, there isn't a second man trying to redeem. There aren't two brothers. It's just one brother saying, I'm not going to redeem the widow. In Boaz's case, there are two brothers. One of them wants to redeem the widow. One of them thinks they do. So it's a little different. It's a little different case. All right. So we're gonna keep reading this time. But if the man does not desire to take his brother's widow, then his brother's widow shall go up to the gate to the elders. Okay, they're in the gate with elders, Boaz and them, and say, my husband's brother refuses to establish a name for his brother in Israel. He is not willing to perform the duty of a husband's brother to me. Then the elders of his city shall summon him and speak to him. And if he persists and says, I do not desire to take her, then, this is fun. Look at this. His brother's widow shall come up to him in the sight of the elders, to the man who does not build up to the elders, and pull his sandal off his foot and spit in his face. And she shall declare, this is what is done to the man who does not build up his brother's house. And in Israel, his family shall be called by the name, the house of him whose sandal was removed. Sandalless. De-sandaled. You're trying to put shame on the brother to make sure the wife builds up a name for the deceased brother. They want to make they want to make sure, okay, they want to be like, no, don't. They want to make sure the deceased brother really has a name built up for himself. So if the living brother says, I don't want to do that, they're going to make the penalty stiff. He will be remembered. His family shall be called by that name. Super shameful. Super shameful. You didn't punish the guy, didn't beat the guy, didn't kill him, because then that would be cutting off his family name possible. But hey, you have shamed your brother. You said, I'm not going to do good to my brother. And I'm not going to do good to this widow. I'm not helping. Okay. Well, then you're going to carry that shame, that selfishness for the rest of your life, by being called the non-sandal person. So here, got a little different. The man takes his sandal off and gives it to Boaz. Ruth doesn't go up there. She's not even around. She doesn't go spit in his face. That's good. So the Redeemer said, okay. Then Boaz said to the elders and all the people, you are witnesses today that I have bought from the hand of Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to Chilion and Mahlon. All that belonged, all of it, and God bought from the hand of Naomi all. Why? Well, it is inheritance. The inheritance from Mahlon would go down. What about Chilion? Chilion went to another nation, but through Elimelech, through Mahlon, then through Boaz and Ruth to their baby. So Elimelech and Naomi. Mahlon, no, not Mahlon anymore, not Mahlon and Chilion, but Elimelech and Naomi, Boaz and Ruth, then the baby that they have. Okay, the baby they have. There's the family line now. Okay, it's more intact than it was. Okay, instead of a chair leg where you put screws in, the screws kind of come loose, they come stripped, so you put some duct tape around it. Okay, good. You bypass the screw, but the chair leg's safe. Hopefully the chair doesn't break. Okay, family line still intact. Good. Not just Mahlon, but Chilion as well. It's pretty cool. Boaz includes them. Furthermore, I have acquired Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of Mahlon, to be my wife in order to raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance. Okay, good. So you got the inheritance of Elimelech, which is Mahlon and Chilion's inheritance, but you're also raising up a name for Mahlon. So it's kind of like Chilion is kind of included by default. At least the inheritance goes somewhere. The inheritance doesn't get sold to some foreigner somewhere. So that the name of the deceased will not be eliminated from his brothers or from the court of his birthplace. You are witnesses today. And all the people who were in the court and the elders said, we are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, both of whom built the house of Israel. And may you achieve wealth in Ephrathah and become famous in Bethlehem. Remember, when we looked at Ruth chapter 1, Ephrathite. Let's see, Elimelech. Go. Now it came about in the days when the judges governed that there was a famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah went to reside in the land of Moab with his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem in Judah. Okay. There's a city called Bethlehem of Ephrathah, the famous Christmas verse. The wise men, they go to Herod. They're like, hey, we saw the star. Herod goes to the chief priest. Hey, chief priest, where is this supposed Messiah going to be born? The chief priests say, in Bethlehem, for it is written, O you, Bethlehem of Ephrathah. So the chief priest, read from the book of Micah. You, Bethlehem of Ephrathah, from you will become a warrior. So, hey, there's Bethlehem of Ephrathah. Here it is, Bethlehem of Ephrathah, Ephrathites of Bethlehem. Ephrathah, we looked it up. Ephrathite. Let's see, is that the way to spell it? Okay, Ruth 2. Now, David was a son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem in Judah. The Ephrathite, hey? David, because David, if we were to look at chapter 4, where is it at? Now, this is a genealogy of Perez. Perez begot Hezron. Okay. That. And Naomi called his name Obed. Perez begot Hezron. Hezron begot Ram. Ram begot Aminadab. Begot Nation. Nation Salmon. Salmon begot Boaz. Boaz begot Obed. What's up here? They call his name Obed. Okay. Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David. Pretty cool. Now, David was the son of that Ephrathite, whose name was Jesse. Jesse was the son of Obed. Obed was the son of Boaz. So you got to straight. So David and Goliath. David, the king of Israel. David, the person that God's like, I would destroy Israel, but because David, I'm not going to do it. It's pretty awesome, right? Yeah. It's all connecting together, man. Jesus is called the son of David, the Messiah, the son of David. God says in some of the prophets, I will raise up a righteous branch, one, the son of David. Son of David? God's going to raise up the son of David as the Messiah. Jesus is son of David. He's related to David. It all flows together. Look at that. The book of Ruth isn't just here for, oh, yeah, it's a good moral story. That is true. It teaches us a lot. It is telling us the family line from Abraham, who was chosen by God. God said, Abraham, I'm choosing you. You're going to bless all nations. Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. Jacob to his 12 sons. Somewhere down the line, one of his 12 sons, Judah has the son Perez. Perez eventually has, where's it at? Boaz. Boaz eventually goes to David. David eventually goes through to Jesus. Unbroken line, Abraham to Jesus. Hey, it's the inheritance. What do we say? It goes through the male line. They wanted babies. They went straight through from Abraham down to Jacob, down to Judah, Perez, Obed, Boaz, David, eventually Jesus. That's the way they looked at it. So we've been talking about this whole time, the inheritance, right? Jesus inherited everything from Abraham. Abraham gave the promises of God to Isaac, then to Jacob, then all the way down to Jesus. Pretty cool. Okay, getting a little theological, but it's pretty historical though, right? I should be looking up Bible verses to show you all this stuff. But I think we pretty much got the gist because the inheritance, right? We got the inheritance thing that we've looked at so many times. Jesus inherits everything that David, Boaz, Abraham inherited. Matthew 1. Abraham fathered Isaac, Isaac fathered Jacob, Jacob fathered Judah and his brothers, Judah fathered Perez and Zerah by Tamar. Perez fathered Hezron, Hezron fathered Ram, Ram fathered Amminadab. We read this a minute ago. Amminadab fathered Nation, Nation fathered Salmon, Salmon fathered Boaz by Rahab. Boaz fathered Obed by Ruth, and Obed fathered Jesse. Jesse fathered David the king. You got all this, fathered him, fathered Hezekiah, Manasseh, deportation of Babylon. But Jeconiah and his brothers went to Babylon, but Jeconiah fathered Shealtiel. Shealtiel fathered Zerubbabel, Abihud, Eliakim, on down, Eliud, Eleazar, Mattan fathered Jacob. Jacob fathered Joseph. Now there's a Jacob up here, but more than one person has the name Jacob. Jacob fathered Joseph, the husband of Mary, by whom Jesus was born, who's called the Messiah. Right there. Yeah. So they get to Jesus, and the inheritance goes down, down, down. You know, inherited promises. Inherit promises. So that you will not be sluggish, but imitators of those who through faith and endurance inherit the promises. You can inherit promises, I guess. Yeah. Promise, inherit. Let's see. They shall, okay, the Lord is their inheritance as he promised them. God said, I will be your inheritance. I promise. For God's their inheritance. Tribe of Levi gets no inheritance. Moses did not give an inheritance. Tribe of Levite, Moses did not give an inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance. I want to be a Levite. God is my inheritance. Look at this. He gave him no inheritance. That is Abraham. Not even a foot of ground. And yet he promised he would give it to him as a possession. Even though he had no child. Abraham had no child. Acts 7:5, Stephen's recalling Stephen, a Christian. He's recalling the promises made by God. He's recalling Israel history. God gave Abraham no inheritance, not even a foot. Yet God promised that God would give it to Abraham as a possession. God promised he would give it to him. Mm-hmm. The inheritance is based on law. If the inheritance is based on law, is no longer based on a promise. Oh, we've been talking about the law this whole time. Wasn't it promised? Well, it did say, Abraham, I promise this is going to be it. Then he gives the law. So he promises Abraham first. Then the son of promise, Isaac, is born to Abraham. Then the son of promise, Jacob, is born to Isaac. Pretty cool, huh? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, right? God has granted it to Abraham by means of a promise. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, yes. Those who have been called may receive the promise of the eternal inheritance, the eternal inheritance. So yeah, you can get eternal inheritances. You can get promises inherited, other stuff besides just property. Abraham didn't have any property. God was like, don't worry, I'll give you some property. Then Abraham died. Oh, his descendants will have it. I agree, they will. There's a promise all the way through to Jesus. Ruth is a little more important than we think. By studying Ruth, we don't get everything I just said, correct? But now, by studying Ruth and going detailed and meticulously through the inheritance stuff, we now understand the theology that I just gave about the inheriting promises and how Jesus is the ultimate inheritor of the promises. Jesus inherited all the promises of the family line, right? Yeah, we understand that now. Before, we were just like, oh, we inherited a promise. I don't really know what it means. Sound like spiritual pious language. Now we know what it means. He didn't just, it's not just like, oh, he inherited it because he was a good person, and oh, he inherited is just a metaphor. He literally inherited it. It is a metaphor, but it's grounded in something very literal. The land promises, the property promises, like if you got a house, if you got cattle and donkey and oxen. If you got all your property, all your stuff, right? Your wife and your kids, right, can be inherited by your brother in this manner of speaking. All the inheritance goes down. What about promises? We get an eternal inheritance. I mean, it starts to make more sense. Why would they use inheritance? Why would they use it? Like God, we inherit the eternal promises. Jesus inherited everything that Abraham should inherit. We now understand it better. I like this so much. This is so awesome. All right, here we go. So Boaz took Ruth. Oh, wait. You are witnesses this day. And all the people who were at the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord will make the woman who is coming to your house like Rachel and Leah, the two who built the house of Israel. And may you prosper in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. Yep. I think Ephrathah and Bethlehem are the same. So they're kind of saying like it's parallel. May you be great in Ephrathah. May you be great in Bethlehem. May you just be great here. Establish a name here in Ephrathah and Bethlehem. And that's pretty cool too. Establish a name in Bethlehem. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Ah, man, look at that. Kind of neat. So God does what these ladies ask, but they don't even know what they're asking. God does make them great in Bethlehem. Of course, he did in that day. Probably Boaz was already pretty rich. Boaz, it seems, he owned a plot of land. He had servants. He was able to give Ruth all this grain and stuff. Sorry, my headphones in the way. He was able to give Ruth like all this extra grain and stuff. So I would have to say, I mean, it just seems like it would be more than just material blessings that God would give. Okay. As we read, an internal inheritance. So it's pretty cool. Where is it at? Oh yeah, like Rachel and Leah. We read that last time, right? The whole Rachel and Leah thing. But down here, may your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah. We read about Perez a minute ago, and Tamar and Judah. We read that, right? Why do they want their house to be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah? Because of the offspring which the Lord will give you from this young woman. Because of the offspring. May your house be okay. Let's read that in another version. That's kind of, let's read a bunch of versions. That's kind of a weird verse. I was gonna like start trying to explain it, but I'm like, huh. May your house become like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, because of the offspring the Lord will give you by this young woman. Maybe it's like the house of Perez was awesome and great and wonderful. And hey, I hope that the Lord makes you become that way. Why would the Lord do it? Because of the offspring the Lord will give you. I hope because of the offspring the Lord gives you, your house becomes like Perez's house. Maybe that's it. Okay, here. And through the children that the Lord will give you. And through, over here, we got, may your house become like Perez's, because of the offspring is in the second half of the verse. But look at this. And through your children that the Lord will give you. Through the offspring, that word children, right? Okay, so offspring down here in these versions, up here in the NRSVP. Oh, hey, this is the New King James. It'd be at the, man, we're reading we're not even on the main versions. That's okay. That's okay. And through the children that the Lord will give you by this young woman, may your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah. Okay. May your house be like Perez. Reading that. Sorry, guys. I suddenly had a yawn. Okay. And may your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, of which of the offspring which the Lord will give to you from this young woman. That's a little confusing, isn't it? That's not the same. That's not because of the offspring. That's of, like because of the offspring, because of the offspring. The Lord will give you children through this young woman. May your family be like the family of Perez. He was the son of, they tell it kind of straight. Perez, in parentheses, he was the son of Tamar, had by Judah. Close parentheses. Maybe they should have that. Maybe they should have that, this part in parentheses. Yeah. The Lord will give you children through this young woman over here, because of the offspring which the Lord will give you, because of the offspring of the Lord. But then up here, through the children the Lord will give you. Over here, the Lord will give you children through this young woman. May your family be like the family of Perez. Maybe they thought it was impressive. Perez is only impressive because Judah, the father. But Perez, there's it at. Perez begot Hezron, Hezron begot Ram. So Jacob begot Judah and the other sons of, there's 12 tribes of Israel. They had like 13 or 14, so ended up with some daughter, really one daughter. So Jacob begot Judah. Judah begot Perez right here. Perez begot Hezron, Hezron Ram, Ram Amminadab, and you go down all the way to David, which eventually goes to Jesus. So that's why Perez is important. Do they know about that? Did they know that they didn't even know about Jesus? I mean, about David at that time. Of course not, So, all right. The author who wrote Ruth probably knew about it, but the people who are being written about, these women, where are we at? The Lord will give you children through this young woman. These people saying that, they obviously don't know who David is, because Obed hasn't even been born yet. Obed is Jesse's father. Jesse is David's father. So, but the author probably knew it. So. Let your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, of the seed which Yahweh shall give you of this young woman. This says of the seed also. May the Lord bless you with many children through Ruth. May your family become great like the family of Perez, the son of Judah and Tamar. Okay, I think we get it. Yeah. I think we get it. Okay. Oops, Ruth 4. So at least these two times seems like a common thing. May you be famous because of these people in your past. May you be famous because of these people in your past. It's actually kind of a common thing. Next time we'll look at the names of some people in the past, and we'll show that it's common to look at names of people in the past and be like, may you be like him, may you be like her, you know. So, all right. May you prosper in Ephrathah and become famous in the end. Okay. Well, hey guys. So Boaz married Ruth and had sexual relations with her. The Lord enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. Yep. Pretty cool. Here you go, guys. Gonna go ahead and stop the share there. Gonna go ahead and end the video for today. We'll have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more videos. So many more videos. But hey, we're good for now. I love you guys very much. Let's pray real quick. Lord God, thank you for being good to us. Thank you for being holy and mighty and wonderful in and of yourself. You are holy. You are mighty. You are wonderful. Thank you, Lord. You're awesome that way. Be with us as we go through our days and help us to remember you always. Help us to remember you always, Lord. Amen. See y'all on the next very basic Bible.